Hi and welcome to the Malat cookery channel. Today I want to show you my take on a classic American dish, which is macaroni and cheese. Now this is a really simple dish to make. In this particular recipe there's no stupid ingredients like paprika or mustard or anything like that. This is just real simple ingredients but done in a way that gives maximum flavour. As usual, a full list of ingredients will be given at the end of the video, so let's start by having a look at those ingredients and anything else we're going to need for today's recipe. So for this really simple macaroni and cheese recipe, we need some really simple ingredients. I've got 300 grams of mature cheddar cheese which has been grated, 250 grams will be going into the sauce and 50 grams will be going onto the topping. Do not buy the pre-grated cheese you can buy in bags. That's coated with a substance to stop it sticking together, and that will always fight against you when you're trying to cook with it. 400 grams of macaroni pasta. You can use the elbow shaped pasta. This is the straight one. It doesn't matter, it all tastes the same. I've got 6 rashers of smoked streaky bacon and 6 rashers of unsmoked streaky bacon. 500 milliliters of semi-skimmed milk. You can use whole milk, it doesn't really matter. I've got 2 tablespoons of plain flour or all-purpose flour, and I've got 20 grams of butter. And to fry the bacon we need about 4 tablespoons of olive oil. So the first thing we want to cook for our mac and cheese is the actual macaroni pasta itself. So on our particular pasta it says cook for 12 minutes. So we're going to actually cook this pasta for 9 minutes. So it's just slightly underdone. And the reason for that is it will continue to cook in the oven when it's mixed with the cheese sauce. So we don't want to actually fully cook it at this stage. So in the pan I've got some salted water. I'm going to bring that up to a boil before I place the actual pasta into it. I've got it on the largest ring on the hob, and the reason for that is when we put the pasta into the water will cool down. I need to get that water back up to temperature as soon as possible so our cooking times remain accurate. So we've got our water up to the boil now. We add the pasta and we just give this one stir just to make sure that it hasn't stuck together. Place the lid on the pan, and again we want to get this back up to temperature as soon as possible because our 9-minute cooking time doesn't start until this starts to boil again. So the water is now back up to the boil. That took about 30 seconds with the lid on. We can now start our timer. So in 9 minutes we'll take this off, drain the actual pasta in a colander and leave that to one side while we do the sauce. Okay, so this pasta is now cooked. I'm going to drain this in the colander as I said, and then we'll move on to do the cheese sauce. So the next part of the recipe is to actually cook the bacon. So I've chosen a pan which is big enough to not just prepare the cheese sauce in, but will also be big enough to add the cooked pasta back into, so we mix everything through before we place it into an oven-proof dish and then bake in the oven. The reason for that is this is where all of the flavour is going to sit for our mac and cheese, so we don't want to swap between pans and lose any of that flavour. So in this casserole pan I've got 4 tablespoons of olive oil. We're going to bring that up to a medium to high heat, and we're going to use a little bit of science called the Maillard reaction or the browning reaction. And this is where amino acids and reducing sugars on the surface of the meat create an incredible flavour, not just on the meat but also in the pan. And it's that flavour that sits in the pan that we're really after. So we're going to place this onto a medium to high heat. We're going to wait until it gets up to temperature, add the bacon and then start this searing effect. And that's really important to get this flavour going. So once we've got the pan up to temperature, we then start to add the bacon. So we're going to sear this bacon now on both sides until the bacon becomes really crispy. We're then going to remove the bacon from the pan and place to one side, and it's what's left in the pan, those incredible flavours, that we're going to use to make the cheese sauce. So that's the bacon cooked. As I said, we're going to remove it from the pan. I'm going to leave the bacon to cool slightly and then chop it into really small pieces, and that will become a garnish for the top of the mac and cheese bake. So with the bacon removed, we want to reduce the heat down to its minimum and then add in our 20 grams of butter and just work that through until it melts. Once the butter's melted, we want to add in the 2 tablespoons of plain or all-purpose flour. And again, we just need to cook this through for a couple of minutes. And this will create what's called a roux, and this will be our thickening agent for the sauce. But it will also retain all of that fantastic flavour we've created from searing the bacon. So now that we've cooked the flour through, we want to increase the heat slightly. And then take our 500 milliliters of milk and just add a little bit at a time. Otherwise, if we add it all together, the sauce will go lumpy. So once we've added all of the milk, we just want to bring this up to a very gentle simmer. So as we get this up to a simmer, you just want to make sure that you take the milk away from the sides of the pan so it doesn't burn. Once we get to the simmer, just reduce the heat down to its minimum again and just cook this through for 2 to 3 minutes, just until you see it start to thicken. Okay, so once we see the actual sauce start to thicken, the next thing we want to do is to turn the heat out completely and just leave it for about 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then we're going to start to add the actual cheese itself. So adding the cheese, it's a similar process to adding the milk. We just want to do a little bit at a time. So just sprinkle some in and just whisk that through. And then once it's melted, just add some more. So that's all of the cheese added in. So the next stage, once this is all melted, is to add the cooked pasta into this pan, in with this cheese sauce. Okay, so just if the pasta started to just stick a little bit, just break it up. And then add all of that pasta in with the cheese sauce into the pan. And just mix all that through. So straight into our oven-proof dish. Make sure you get absolutely every last bit out of here. Okay, once we've levelled all that out, the next thing we want to do is take our 50 grams of additional cheese and just scatter that evenly over the top. So then the final bit, this is the bacon that we cooked earlier. We've chopped this up into small pieces, and again we just scatter that evenly over the top, and this will go into that preheated oven for 20 minutes. From there, and this is optional, you can then put the grill onto high heat and just place the dish under the grill for 2 minutes just to brown off even more if you want to. So that's it done. 20 minutes in the oven and then 2 minutes under a hot grill. The smell is absolutely incredible. That grilled cheese and bacon, and I know it's going to taste even better than that. So how nice is that? Macaroni and cheese, maximum flavour, using a little bit of science know-how with regard to the Maillard reaction. Very simple recipe to do. Please subscribe to the channel, and as usual, if you've enjoyed this particular video, hit the like button. Thank you very much for watching.